Kay, and welcome to Believers Talk, where we talk about information and revelation that impacts every viewer. We want to invite you into our world today, and before we do that, I want to introduce you to our resident co-host, Felicia Jacob Lewis. How are you feeling?
Hey, Dr. K, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Just to let y'all know, my name is also Fee. And one thing, while we started this show, we want to let people know if you don't know your rights, you don't have any. So our goal today is just to make sure you understand what your rights are. And we're excited to have Dr. Judge Don Johnson with us today.
Yes, we are excited to have you, Judge, and just be able to share with us. Are you excited about the campaign?
Yes, I'm highly excited about making sure I touch everybody. I want to just get out and touch everybody.
Well, yeah, we know that you want to do that, and we're happy to have you share with us today a little bit about your campaign.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before we get there, though, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
I am totally, I met you earlier today, and you're a man of God, you're humble, and I just realized you guys have some historical things going on within your family.
Yes,
You have a twin?
I do. Identical.
Really? That's
Yes, I do.
amazing, and he's also a judge.
He's also a judge.
Was this something that was planned out together as twins?
No.
Because you know you both have the same type of brain, you think alike, is that true?
Well, partially true.
Okay.
Partially true. He's educated similar to what I have attained. He was an engineer before he became a lawyer. I was an engineer before I became a lawyer. And then he went on to Sully University. I went on to LSU and got my law degree. And we're out here practicing law and then becoming judges. But none of it was planned. Not a single step along the way was actually thought out and planned.
Wow. And your mom, were they like completely, like, I got two sons that are judges. Was she completely surprised?
She was so proud, Miss Lucille. I think about her every day. She was the bailiff at the court. She always greeted everybody with a huge smile. And she told me this too, I'll tell you a little secret. She says, Don, when you get to be old, if you smile, you'll look better when you get an old man. So for those of you who need to learn the age concept, smile all the time, and your frame will be personified. But yes, my mom was very essential in Ron and I direction. And we came up Pentecostal. A lot of people don't know that. We came up Pentecostal. My grandfather founded a Pentecostal church here in Baton Rouge. It still exists today, founded in 1960. And Ron and I come out of that generation of pastors and founders of churches.
That's phenomenal. So there's some historical significance with you guys.
Well,
Can you tell us about that?
Sure. When Ron got elected to the district court, we became the first male twins to actually sit on a district court in the United States, as far as our research shows. There were a couple of twins that were sitting in another state, but they were female twins. And, yeah. So Ron and I guess, followed them, and we became the first set of twins to sit as district court judges in the history of Louisiana, and we believe also in the history of the United States.
Now, you mentioned the judgeship. With reference to being judge, how long have you been a judge?
29 years. 29 years is in a month or so, 29 years. And it's been a long experience. It's been a call to duty, and it's been a changing environment to sit and preside over that many cases and give justice to that many people over that span of time.
And your brother is a minister as well, correct? Or pastor? Or?
Yes, he's a minister. I didn't go that route. I went to study the law and get other disciplinary education. So Ron went into ministry, and I went into criminal justice education and things like that.
But it'd be fair to say that you guys have a strong religious belief or belief in God.
Yes, yes.
And some of the principles that
Yes.
represented in the Bible are a part of you.
It is. It's fundamental that you know your inner core, because when you sit as a judge, you have a rule book, you have the rule of law, but you also have an understanding of what to do with matters. And that comes from your knowledge of your spiritual base. And that's your focal, and you don't allow anyone to come within that sphere, because that bothers your core, because you're spiritually set in your understanding of how to deal with issues and how to deal with challenges. And the challenging part is the easy part for me, because challenges are expected and they're going to come. You've got to have this strong inner spirit to be able to deal with that.
Absolutely.
I have a quick question. I know people, when you say you're a judge, you have all these degrees, you're a man who has done a lot, and thank God for that. But what do you think when people see you? Is there anything you want people to know about you, or one thing nobody knows that you would like for them to know?
I would like for people to know that it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter what you do not have. And I feel that a lot of us feel insignificant because we don't have a lot when we start out. And we see all of the world as a mountain to climb. And I want you to know that it doesn't matter. You can start with nothing. You don't have to have anything but your inner core, your spiritual base, and your persistence to overcome. So there's no difference in us. There's no difference in us. Now we may think differently as young people, but my age now tells me firmly that there's no difference in us as a people, and we should not accept smallness.
Come on, yes.
We should not accept that the color of our skin somehow is a negative. And I believe that a lot of us think this way, that somehow we call ourselves a minority. No, I'm not a minority. I'm a majority. So I want to frame this quest for the future, that you are the majority in terms of your thinking. Think positive. Think yourself as important, and then if you think that way, it'll happen. If you believe that, it'll happen. So I run this race, I get in this race, not because it's made for me. I didn't get in this election because this district was made for someone that looks like me. No, I got in because I want to make certain that it's open for everybody. And that's important to me.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Okay.
One last question for me. Do you have any regrets? Is there anything you would change?
Well, I suppose I would, if I had to go back and redo things, I wouldn't perhaps spend so much time studying. And here's what I did. I remember in first grade, the teacher told us as students that we were behind. We were behind. So I've been running ever since to catch up. Been running ever since to prove my worth. And after 7 degrees, I don't know. I finally said I've caught up.
Oh, yes, you have.
So that's maybe I shouldn't spend so much time in that regard.
Wow.
That's amazing. We'll be right back with Believers Talk. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, this is Apostle Keith, and you have been graced with the opportunity to be a part of Believers Talk. Keep it locked.
Well, Judge, we want to pivot right here.
Sure.
So we know that you're a candidate for First Circuit Court of Appeals,
Yes.
and that election is coming up in November, right?
That is correct. November the 8th will be the election day for the First Circuit Court of Appeal.
Well, can you share with us, or share with the viewers, what your reasons were for running for this seat? You're already a judge, so
Yes.
technically you don't have to run for this seat. Tell us about that. Share with us with
Well,
perspective.
that several reasons, and I'll try to focus on what's important, at least for lawyers or judges that want to serve on a higher court. 30 years ago, approximately 30 years ago, there was a group of lawyers here in Baton Rouge that changed the structure for black lawyers to get elected to be a judge. There were barriers, structural barriers that were in place, and we were not able to compete because largely the districts were so wide and the population was different. So 30 years ago, there was a settlement of a lawsuit, and that lawsuit resulted in the First Circuit Court of Appeal being designed into 2 districts. And one was a majority race district, and the other's still today a minority race district. So we have 4 judges in Baton Rouge that serve on the First Circuit. And the district lines were drawn 30 years ago, based on 1980 census. Now,
Okay.
project forward 40 years later. The East Baton Rouge Parish now is majority minority. In other words, it's a majority black community or minorities. But the district lines have remained the same. So structurally, there's an allotment of, the allotment is misaligned. And so structurally, I'm not able to run unless I run in a district that looks like me, that's majority represented. And that shouldn't be the case. So I've decided to challenge the existing status quo. And I believe that because otherwise I accept the fact that somehow I cannot run and win in a district that does not look like me.
So there's a challenge there.
Yeah, and we have to tell our community, we have to tell our children, you know, you should be able to compete anywhere. And don't limit yourself to say, I picked to run in this district because that's a majority race district and this is the minority race district, so I can't run here. But that is the lay of the land today in judicial politics or judicial elections. Well, I'm going to break that. That has to go in the past.
So, and based on what I'm hearing from you, mediocrity is not something that you readily accept. Yeah.
That's right. Because that's accepting mediocrity. In other words, that somehow that matters. That's the only thing that should matter. And no, we can accept that if we're truly judges. Think about what I said. If you're truly a judge, you reject that kind of understanding about yourself, and you want your community to reject that. So I'm asking the community to get away from barriers and limitations, and let's move on to the future.
Wow, astounding. And so, you know, when you're out there and you're talking to people, what kind of reception are you receiving from the people that you're encountering?
I see a lot of people that look at me and say, Judge, thank you. Thank you. And I'm saying, thank you me for what? Judge, you remember when you, no, I don't. I don't remember. So I'm touching people that have seen me either close up or from a distance. And they're sending me a message. They're talking to me. Thank you. And I'm saying, thank you, Judge. And I'm saying, what did I do? Did I do something as a lawyer for them? Or did I do something on the bench? Or did I give them a word of encouragement? Did I give them a word of advice? Did I offer myself and say, I'll serve? I'll serve. I think that's what's going on. I think that I'm realizing throughout this campaign that this is missionary work I'm doing.
Wow, Judge, I am literally sitting here like, you're a change maker.
Oh,
You're making changes. And for young people to see this right now, and you're personable, and you show humility, thank you so much, because I'm sitting here like, I didn't know you before today, I heard your name, but I'm really, really proud to have met you and talked with you, because just the changes and how your thought process, thank God for that.
I want everybody, and it's a lot of us, what do you hear on the news all the time? Somehow we're talking about people that look like you, and what are you up to? I said, somehow something's going on that on my watch I didn't pay attention to. So all this issue of people doing crime or people doing conduct that we don't approve of, somehow I ask myself, how am I responsible? Maybe I'm responsible for that. So I need to do more. By going to the Court of Appeal now, I'll have the opportunity to look at others' work and make certain it's well done. And that's what I want to do. That's another reason I want to go to this job, to break the barriers, but to also let others know who are going to come behind me that get ready for this opportunity, because it's yours and you claim it and go for it. So yes, that's the message I'm getting out there. So many people have come up to me and say, thank you for running. Thank you for trying. And that's empowering me.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying. So how is this going to translate out, or what's the feeling that you have with reference to, particularly that you want to speak with Christian believers about what it is that you plan to do on the First Circuit to change those barriers and break those barriers?
Well, and I started to say if, I'll say when I'm elected.
There you go, there you go.
When I'm elected, I'll be serving on a panel of judges where I will bring diversity to the table. It's important that we bring all of us in the community to the table. And I want a seat at the table so that I can share a perspective of justice. I can share a community interested in success, and I can make certain that the law is inclusive of all of us. So it's a matter of being at the table. It's a matter of making sure that perspectives are known. And then the other thing is this. We don't understand each other if we are not sitting there talking about what happens in law and what happens with us when we do things. So I want to bring that perspective to diversity and inclusivity.
Absolutely. And so there's an old saying that Dwight Eisenhower spoke about, and he said that integrity is necessary, critical for leadership. What's your sense of integrity for real? To be transparent with our viewers about what that sense of integrity is. So what we're going to do is when we have the opportunity to come back from our break,
Okay.
we're going to ask you that same question about integrity and
Very
what
good.
that integrity represents to you as being a judge.
Very well, thank you.
Stand by.
We'll be back with Believers Talk.
We at Believers Talk TV appreciate your continued financial faithful support for our programming.
Please mail your seeds to Believers Talk TV, Post Office Box 77506, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70879. You helped to make this happen. Believers Talk TV. Thank you so much for your support.
Judge, before we went to break, I asked you about integrity, and it's a subject I've been studying a great deal on. I read in 1 Samuel 12, I believe verse 4, where he said, I haven't cheated or oppressed anybody. And then I brought it home to Dwight Eisenhower, who said that integrity is the greatest part of leadership. It's a critical part of leadership. I want you to share with the viewers, your degree of integrity,
Okay.
or if any,
I'm the real deal. I'm the real deal. I don't pretend what I'm not. I don't fake. I'm true to my beliefs. I don't zip up when difficult issues come along. I confront the truth. I don't run from it. I think integrity is something you just innately have. I mean, we can study it. We can study about it, but you know if you have it. And the people that you encounter are going to test the level of your integrity. The money changers, the powerful, your own family, your inner circle are always going to test you. Now, you won't know that they're doing that, and they may not be doing it intentionally, but they will be asking for something. They will be asking you to do something. And you have to have the ability to say no. No. And I teach judges throughout the United States, and I tell them that you must be certain about your ability to say the word no. You have to have that faculty because you're going to be tested. As a judge, you're going to be tested from day one. And you're going to have to make certain that you know your power of yourself. So my value of integrity is knowing that I can say the word no, and also that I can say the word guilty as equally as I can say the word not guilty. That's integrity of the law, and I believe that. I believe that that's fundamental.
Fundamental integrity.
Yes.
And so, if you had to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most integrity that you could possibly have, honestly, How would you rate yourself?
Not being perfect. None of us are perfect. We are products of our past, but we're not imprisoned thereby. So grading myself with that level, I'm a 9 out of 10.
Judge Johnson, I have one question for you. When I was in college, it was a phrase on the building that Martin Luther King said, "A threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice anywhere, everywhere." How do you feel about that? Because it's stuck with me. I love it.
I'm glad you mentioned Dr. King. On my wall in the courtroom, I have a picture of Dr. King. And I remember him saying this also: "No man can ride your back unless it's bent. So if you stand up and walk upright, everything that will fall off, everything will fall off. Whatever burden it is you carry, whatever thinking about yourself that's preventing you from going on, if you would just walk upright and pursue your dreams, everything will fall off. That's baggage. That's baggage." So I see a lot of young men in court every day, and they're looking for re-entry. They're looking for re-entry. And I tell them, you're never going to re-enter. You're never going to get out of the ditch, back on the main road, unless you walk upright and let it go, and you free yourself. And that's the challenge that I'm facing. So walk upright, and everything will be fine.
Amen. Amen.
Wow, we've got a lot to reflect on, Judge. You shared some things with us that have powerfully impacted me. Let's ask let's address the elephant in the room about the election.
Okay?
What is that going to be like? When is it? What do you want to tell the voters in terms of their participation?
Okay.
Is there a runoff expected, or what? Tell us your recap of what's going on.
Well, I want you to know that it's important that you vote. Now, Dr. K, you mentioned the elephant in the room. Here's the elephant in the room. We don't vote. We do not vote. We're apathetic about it. Something has caused us to vote less and less and less. And it's hurtful because right after we got the right to vote, right after women and then minorities got the right to vote, we used that vote with power. But now the power that we have is sitting on the table. If we would just pick it up, we reframe our future. So I said this to you once before, Dr. K. To me, for the culture that I came from, for the culture that I grew up out of, to me it's a sin. It's sinful not to vote because of my past history. I'm called upon to vote. I'm called upon to march forward so that those footsteps that were walked ahead of me, I will be worthy of those sacrifices. That I'm worthy to walk in those shoes with my power to vote. So I ask, November the 8th is the election day.
November 8th. Okay.
November the 8th. But I don't want you to wait till November the 8th. I want you to plan your vote. Plan your vote. 2 weeks. If you would go those 2 weeks called early voting, this election is over. If you would just go and vote. November the 8th, it's over. So please, I ask you to do that. Let's not be sinful. Let's be forthright, transparent, and upfront. And let's march to the beat of the drum. Major. I thank you.
Wow, thank you, Judge, so much. We hope that some of the things that have been shared here today have impacted your spirit. And insofar as your spirit is impacted, I believe that it's not an accident that you tuned in to listen to us today. I believe that God has called you to such a time as this, not just only to vote, but to become a better Christian, to become a Christian yourself, to join the game. And so we want to invite you to do that. And I just invite you to repeat this prayer after me, if you would. Say, Lord Jesus, I know that I messed up, and I know that I'm a sinner. I want you to forgive me of my sins, come into my life, and make me respond more like you. If you repeated that prayer, we believe you're in the kingdom.
Absolutely.
So 2 things we want you to do. Get into a good Bible-based church and go out and exercise your right to vote. Thank you for being with us, Judge, here today.
Thank you.
And I have one last question before
Sure.
we go off. How can we reach you? Where can they find you?
I'm on the web at donappeal.org. So please reach out to that web page and look for opportunities to come and volunteer and come and let's march. Let's run on and see what the future's going to hold. Thank you.
You have now heard from Judge Johnson. The word has gone out. We're here to support. Please vote. But thank you for tuning in to Believers Talk. Have an amazing Sunday. See you next Sunday.